Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and we are going to talk about the truly staggering occurrence of the ouster of Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. All right, so this just happened, and it is truly a extremely frightening occurrence, and I don't think people really have the scope of how historical this is. So first of all, let's talk about what's happening, and then let's talk about how this affects Vivek Ramaswamy and really defines what he is trying to do in this election. Because increasingly, every single day, we get a better idea of exactly what the stakes are in all this. And I think it's extremely difficult to understand how terribly important it is that Vivek Ramaswamy rescue America from this cataclysmic future that is swiftly approaching, right? Swiftly approaching. And you know, just to put it clearly, we can no longer vote for the lesser of two evils. We've been doing it for decades, and we've reached a point where we can't do this anymore because we keep thinking we're going to build a good society out of lesser evils, and that math doesn't work, right? Vivek Ramaswamy is the best of us, and that's what we need right now. We no longer have the luxury of the lesser of two evils, and we can no longer fool ourselves that voting for evil people will produce a good result. And I think that's where we are at. It's just this can no longer continue, right? Yeah. All right. Let's talk about what happened with Kevin McCarthy. Absolutely astounding. So first of all, just the stakes on this are absolutely incredible. So first of all, the Speaker of the House position that Kevin McCarthy has, you're not picking somebody it's an old term. They use the term whip up votes. Like the Speaker of the House is supposed to like whip votes, right? To kind of get his group in line. That's a very ancient, it's very old language, but yeah, it's very ancient old language, and it's not really. We definitely need better language around this, but there's no question that we've reached a point where we've got to get to a stage where. Kevin McCarthy is in this position, right? And this is third in line this is absolutely incredible. It's so hard to just explain what's happening. All right. This is third in line for the presidency. So if President Joseph Biden were to pass, which seems extremely likely now that we've seen Dianne Feinstein, pretty much an identical person from the perspective of age and health, pretty much a very clear model of what's happening with it. You know, increasingly, I think we are like, is our president okay? Like, because you know, the Dianne Feinstein thing is terribly frightening. It's really frightening. So if President Joseph Biden were to pass, and then Kamala Harris were to pass, Kevin McCarthy would have been the president. That's how close in the line of succession he was. That's astounding, right? So these are the stakes of this, right? The other thing is he was put out in a matter of months, right? He just became Speaker of the House, and a Speaker of the House losing his job or her job, because we've had female Speakers of the House before, I believe. This has not happened this fast since the 1870s, when Speaker of the House lost the position because they had consumption and died. Okay? So this is historically unprecedented, right? Now, why did it happen? Why was Kevin McCarthy, the Republican Speaker of the House? And by the way, the Speaker of the House was won by the Republicans. There isn't a Democrat and a Republican Speaker of the House. Just the Speaker of the House position was won by the Republicans, right? Because they control the House, right? So you get this situation where Kevin McCarthy comes in, and he is in a position. So he gets ousted, and the reason why was because he helped the Democrats to stop the government from shutting down. That's pretty astounding. So he was fired by the Republicans of the House specifically because he aided the Democrats in a single thing. And the reason why is we've reached a point where bipartisanship is savagely punished, right? Like this is, losing your position because you helped with one bipartisan action is incredible, right? So this is completely unprecedented. It is incredibly shocking, and it is completely reactionary from the Republicans, and it is an action that comes from hate, division, and entertaining disrespect. Okay? All of this comes from Donald Trump, from President Donald Trump, right? And the reason why is he built a base, a powerful base, a base that has never... Basically, the base Donald Trump built allowed him to completely destroy the Republican Party. I believe, again, what are the stakes? What are we really fighting for when we are fighting to put Vivek Ramaswamy into the 2024 U.S. presidential position? We are fighting for the life of the Republican Party, because at this point it is destroyed. It's in ashes. Okay? And basically what you see is there's a Trump party. Trumpers are not Republicans. Okay? Donald Trump was never a Republican. Republicans come from the long line of kindness, tolerance, of civility, tolerance, respect. We got these values from Abraham Lincoln, who maximized them in 1965 and did one of the greatest acts of kindness and one of the greatest acts of civility, one of the greatest acts of tolerance, and one of the greatest acts of respect that this nation has ever delivered, right? That's our heritage, right? And Donald Trump has destroyed the Republican Party, has shoved the Trump Party into, shoved the Trumpers into the Republican Party, and they're just wearing the Republican skin, right? That's what you're looking at. It's the Trump Party wearing the Republican skin. And Vivek Ramaswamy has to resurrect the Republican Party, right? And the reason why is the Republican Party would never do this, right? This is Trump. You're seeing reactionary, volatile activity from the Trump Party, which is completely dedicated to hatred, completely dedicated to intolerance, and outrageously dedicated to entertaining disrespect. Scott, why do you put that entertaining in there? It's important. It's why he gets away with it. He literally, this isn't a joke. Donald Trump cemented celebrity and entertainment being part of the tasks of a U.S. president. The U.S. president going forward forever will need to entertain America. President Joseph Biden is not entertaining, right? Tripping over microphone wires and maybe half your bones are broken. That's not entertaining, right? And this is why people really despise President Joseph Biden, is he hasn't learned any lessons from Trump. He really thinks he doesn't understand that American politics have been changed forever. So this idea of entertaining disrespect, right? Disrespect is wrong. We shouldn't do it. But the reality is, it was incredibly entertaining when Trump did it. And not just Republicans, for Democrats. I mean, and this isn't me just saying this. The numbers proved it, right? The CNN literally is in the middle of crisis because their numbers dropped through the floor when President Biden, which is not entertaining or interesting or compelling in any way, was replacing the most entertaining, compelling, interesting president we've ever had in this century or in the century before that. Right? It's astounding, right? So, but the reality is, this is where we're at. What you're seeing is a massive action, a reactionary, volatile action born from hatred, born from disrespect, born from intolerance, right? And this comes from Trump's base. And we didn't know this before Trump. Like, if you bind yourself in hatred and disrespect and intolerance, there are a lot of people who are into that. Like, and so basically, Vivek Ramaswamy is not just fighting to give us a good economy, right? Trump can give us a good economy. That'll happen if he gets in. No two ways about it. He's fighting for the soul of the Republican Party and allowing the Republican Party to exist again. Because right now it does not exist. There is simply the Trump Party. And in 7 years, Donald Trump has replaced the Republican Party with a wolf in sheep's clothing. And it is the Trump Party wearing the skin of the Republican Party, right? And the Republican Party quite literally needs a resurrection. I do think Vivek Ramaswamy is 100% capable of that resurrection, and I think it's really important that he actually achieves it. So make no mistake, this is a huge event. It's really important to Vivek Ramaswamy's running, and makes the stakes even higher for why it is absolutely critical that we push hard enough, that we find new paths, and that we do the impossible, right? And beat Donald Trump. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.